Here, let me... My name is Jonah Austin. I will be graduating from Carmel High School and attending Purdue University in the fall. My favorite memory from Venture students was all the overnight camps because I think it helps build a deeper relationship with everybody around me. And boiler up.
I'm Roxana Johnson. I'm graduating from Carmel High School and going to Ivy Tech. And my favorite part of Venture students is my life group and being able to receive guidance from my life group leader.
Sweet.
Nice.
Hi, my name is Becca Huddleston. I'm graduating from Fishers High School, and next year I will be attending Ball State University. And my favorite memory from Venture students is probably just hanging out with my life groups and getting McDonald's afterwards.
Hi, my name is Ava Leger. I'm graduating from Westfield High School, and I'm going to be attending American University. And my favorite thing about Venture students is my life group, the friendships we've made, and all the memories we've made together.
Hi, my name is Rachel Beeler. I'll be graduating from North Point Homeschool Academy, and I plan on attending Indiana Wesleyan University for graphic design and ceramics.
Hello, my name is Bradford Miller, and I'll be graduating from Fishers High School, and I'll be attending Ivy Tech, specifically the one in Hamilton County, in the fall.
Quiet on set.
Hi, my name is Howie Kim. I'll be graduating from Fishers High School, and I'll be going to IU in the fall. My favorite memory would be meeting new friends as well as Janine and Jake.
Hi, my name is Abigail Judy. I am graduating from Carmel High School, and next year I will be attending Xavier University. And my favorite memory from Venture students is getting to sing worship on Sunday nights and hanging out with the rest of my senior girls.
Hi, my name is Sullivan Broadhead. I'm graduating from Millersville High School. I'm going to college, but I'm not sure which college to go to yet. And my favorite memory was just all the fun conversations we had during our small group.
What's up? I'm Malachi Jones. I'm graduating from Carmel High School. I'm not really sure what I'm doing after. My favorite memory from Venture is probably move this summer.
Hi, my name is Ava Brockett, and I'm graduating from Noblesville High School, and I'm attending Taylor University. My favorite memory from Venture students is all the fun times I spent with my life group and worshiping on the worship team.
If there was ever a video that captured each one of their personalities, it is that one to a T. That was amazing. Can we give it up for our worship team as well? They crushed it. That's what I get to experience every Sunday night. So yes, some of you are missing out. That is so much fun. I'm so glad to be here. My name is Jake Smith. I have the privilege of serving here as our student pastor. I'm representing our next gen team. Joy Fehl decided to have a baby 3 weeks ago. So she is out. The baby's healthy though, if anyone was curious. Riley's awesome. So I'm representing Next Gen. We've got Next Gen everywhere today because what this means is students and kids are doing everything. So we've got students running tech in the back. We've got lights being run by students, the cameras. Obviously, you had our worship team up here. Some of our students are down in the kids ministry with some of your kids, teaching them, leading them in worship. And so if anything goes wrong today, you can blame it on the students. I'm kidding. They're awesome. I'm blessed to work with these students and these kids. Today I have the opportunity to just speak about this next generation. And I was really trying to work on what's a title for this message? I really don't know. So this is what I've settled on. They aren't that bad. Okay? They aren't that bad. In fact, they're pretty stinking awesome, okay? And if you've been with 4th through 8th grade boys, you know that stinking part really has another level to it, okay? They are awesome, and my hope today is to shine a spotlight on how God is forming and molding this next generation to be a pivotal part of his kingdom moving forward, okay? And so some of you are very familiar with this next generation. Your teachers, Maybe your bus drivers, your school volunteers, your parents. Okay, you name it, you have a firsthand experience with these kids and students coming up in this next generation. Some of you already volunteer in our Next Gen ministries. Maybe you are in the 1-4 room. Maybe you're with the nursery, with the babies. Maybe you're a life group leader with me. If you see someone with a dinosaur t-shirt on, we're kind of a herd of dinosaurs today. You can ask them about student ministry, but you're serving, right? You're seeing the ministry potential in our kids and students and what this next generation is holding. And if you aren't in any of those positions, my hope today is to convince you to be a part of our Next Gen ministry. So I'm going to pause real quick. If you have served in kids ministry on Sunday morning or VBS or in student ministry, would you stand up real quick? I want to recognize everyone who actually makes ministry happen. Yes, everybody give a round of applause. This is awesome. Okay, you can take a seat. So what I saw there was there's a lot of people serving. There's also a lot of people that we can join forces for this next generation, which is going to be awesome. So here's the tension, okay? We have to wrestle with this tension. We always have had to wrestle with this for centuries. Like every generation, this one has some good and there has some bad. You can find all the articles you want about how this next generation is going down the toilet. You can flip on the news or turn on social media and find an article with a headline about how lost this younger generation is and how, they just aren't the same as they used to be. The problem with that, though, if that's truly the case, if that's what we're reading, what we're kind of consuming on our news feed, it could quickly turn into, why try? Why invest time into people who have been deemed the most narcissistic generation? Why invest into people who only look after themselves? Why fight an uphill battle? And that's a very scary thought, that could quickly turn into the mindset. Now, do some of those articles hold truth? Yes. Are the numbers scary of anxiety and depression and loneliness and in this next generation leaving parts of the church? Yes, it is scary. But do they tell the whole story? No. And should we give up on them? Not even close. Opposite, we should want to invest because like every generation has its problems. Right? We can't blame this next generation for millennials and above creating social media platforms to them to join on, right? We can't blame them for the time of life that they're in, but we also can't leave them without guidance. We can't leave them without coming alongside and teaching them the ways of Jesus and how he has affected our life. Because we are a church, as a church globally and locally, we're full of broken people trying to lead broken people. It's not easy, but man, it's worth it. And we're all on this same team together. And I hope to show you that today as well. If you would, open up your Bibles with me to 1 Timothy chapter 4. Now, I don't want to sound like a broken record. This verse has been used multiple times for centuries to talk about a younger generation. And then as I was praying, as I was prepping for this message, I started to think to myself, well, if Jesus did it, if the disciples did it, if the early church did it by using verses over and over and over to show God's goodness and who Jesus is, then we can still today, okay? Because it must work. So we are going to be in 1 Timothy chapter 4. I'm going to read verses 8 through 12 and then verse 15. So if you would, follow along with me, whether in your Bible or on the screen. Here we go. Physical training is good, but training for godliness is much better, promising benefits in this life and in the life to come. This is a trustworthy saying, and everyone should accept it. This is why we work hard and continue to struggle, for our hope is in the living God, who is the Savior of all people, and particularly of all believers. Teach these things and insist that everyone learn them. Now here's our verse for today. Don't let anyone think less of you because you are young, Be an example to all believers in what you say, in the way you live, in your love, your faith, and your purity. And then skipping to verse 15. Give your complete attention to these matters. Throw yourself into your tasks so that everyone will see your progress. So real quick, what I want to do is I want to kind of go through what I believe Paul talking to Timothy. So Timothy is Paul's disciple. He's been raising him up. He's sending him out to do ministry. What I believe that Paul is telling him and what we can learn from today. And then at the end of my message, I want to apply this in a pretty cool way. So verse 12, some of your versions probably said, don't let anyone look down upon you. And this phrase, looking down to me, implies that someone being looked down upon is not capable of doing something or achieving the same level that that person looking down at them believes they could do. Right? As a boss, right? I believe that's a wrong mentality. How many times have people been shorted having opportunities to do something because others didn't believe that they could do it or do it as good as someone else? I'm sure this happens at your work. That's what I was going to say. Your boss might have looked down upon you when you first got into your role and what you're doing because you didn't know enough, or you didn't have enough experience, or you weren't ready, or you weren't old enough. At Venture, our next gen ministry has a value of thinking the complete opposite of this. We have seen this next generation have the ability to teach. On Sunday mornings, your kids have students who are teaching them Bible lessons and talking with them about what that means in their lives. On Sunday nights this past year, we had 2 students share the gospel around Easter time and what that means for us. We've seen kids and students lead worship both here on the main stage, on our student stage, and even in the 1-4 room, which is our 1st through 4th grade room. If you've never seen this before, there are peers of those 1-4 students that will get up and do the hand motions so that everyone can follow along, especially with VBS. It's adorable, okay? But that is a chance for them to lead. We have students and kids greeting on Sunday mornings, Sunday nights, Christmas, Easter, you name a big event. People, including the next generation, are welcoming others into our space. Students have hosted our games and everything on Sunday nights, and now we can add hosted from main stage kids and students to that list, which did Ryan and Delaney do just a great job. That was so good. Delaney more than Ryan, but that's fine. Right? And then kids and students, they serve in our food pantry during the week and on the weekend. Kids and students are doing ministry. They're doing amazing ministry because the opportunity is there. We're giving them an opportunity to showcase what they can do. And my list can go on and on. Really, our kids and students do so much here at the church. But once we give kids and students the opportunity to lead, and have chances to showcase what they're capable of, they do amazing ministry. And that's what we here at Venture Next Gen want to do, and it's evident throughout our week and on our Sundays. Will it be perfect? Probably not, okay? Will it be how Joy or Heidi or myself would do it? Definitely not, okay? But sometimes it turns out better than we could have done it, because their faith is growing as they learn and as they do. Okay? The second part of this verse that I want to look at is when Paul tells Timothy to be an example. What I want to say is students and kids that get it, wow, do they get it? Right? Now, obviously, there are some who are still learning about their faith. They're still learning how that applies to them. They're still trying to get these really complex thoughts and abstract theological concepts down to something that they can hold on to and is knowledgeable. And I get all that. And that's the amazing thing of being a life group leader, being a student pastor, being in the kids wing, is you get to walk alongside them as they're making those connections and they're learning. But once they learn it and they make it their own, what we have seen over and over is kids and students who get it, they soar. They move in their schools. They move in their friend groups. They want people to be a part of what they're learning. They're inviting. They're being, they're being one aware. They're being Jesus's hands and feet wherever they go. And I believe that the church could take a huge note of one life and one awareness from our next gen ministry. And it's nothing that Joy or I are doing. It's really the students. They're amazing. We have new kids and students every week in our ministries who are showing up to find community and to find Jesus. We started this new tradition in student ministry that if someone brings a friend, we give them a sticker, and they can write their name on that, and then they climb up this little ladder. It's little, okay, it's not a big ladder. It's safe. And they put it on our snack shack. And so we can see visibly how many new students have walked through our doors. And Joy and I have seen more kids new and more students new in our ministries this year alone than we have in the last couple years. Something is stirring in this next generation that they want their friends to know Jesus. Lastly, verse 15 says, so that everyone will see your progress. And here's my first plug for you to fill in to a spot in Next Gen and Serve. Okay, progress. Next Gen is full of progress. If you start off in the nursery, you can watch a little baby turn into a 2-year-old, right? And they're learning words, they're learning even some Bible stories, right? And then they graduate from the nursery and they go into the 2s class and the pre-K and everything. And give your time, give a year to the 1-4 room. And watch a 1st grader turn into a 2nd grader and beginning to learn and worship and make their faith their own. Give a year to the Route 56 room with our 5th and 6th graders. They are nuts, but it is so fun because that's when they're really starting to get it. They're really starting to go from, well, this is like sort of my parents' faith. I just come to church to, no, like I understand what this means for me, all in a year. Give 6 years to student ministry. And watch an awkward 7th grader who you just hope says 4 words turn into an amazing leader as a junior and senior in our ministry. It's so cool to see the progress because it's evident everywhere you look. And I have a front row seat to that, and I don't want you to miss out. I don't want you to miss out on what's happening. I've got a 2-year-old. We dropped her off in the 2s class in January. It's May. It's been 5 months. And in those 5 months, since we dropped her off, she has learned how to pray. She prays for our meals. She has learned how to sing worship songs, dance for Jesus, recite parts of the stories that she's learning in class, and most importantly, color the story pages, right, given to them. But that's 5 months. That's 5 months of progress in a 2-year-old. Imagine walking with them through each stage of their faith development and seeing the progress that happens. It's an amazing thing to have a front row seat to and to see that progress. And speaking of progress, here's where I want to pivot and do a little bit of a live, real life example of what this looks like. So I'm going to invite some friends here onto stage. This is Glenn Johnson, Janine Smith, Jonah Austin, and Becca Huddleston. They might be coming. There they are. That's great. Way to lead the charge, Glenn. So these are some of our current students and life group leaders. I'm going to do just a little Q&A interview with them so that you get to hear firsthand a little bit of just why Next Gen matters and just kind of the importance. So I'm going to have them introduce themselves. So you want to go first?
My name is Jonah Austin, and I'm in 12th grade, and I have been I've been part of Venture Students and Venture, the kids ministry since kindergarten. So that's like 11, 12 years, something like that. It's a lot of years, yeah. Long time.
Hi, I'm Becca Huddleston, and I'm also a senior, and I've been part of Venture Ministry since the beginning of this school year.
I'm Glenn Johnson. I have been serving as a youth group leader for 6 years.
I'm Janine Smith, Jake's wife, and I've also been serving as a life group leader for 6 years at Venture Students.
So it's been awesome to see Becca join our ministry this year with Janine. Jonah, Glenn has watched, you went from an awkward 7th grader to just an awkward 12th grader. It was kind of hurt my progress point, but no, I'm kidding. I give Jonah the most flack out of all of our students. So, hey, we'll start off with an easy one. I'm just going to ask Jonah and Becca this question. What is a highlight or a favorite memory that you have from student ministry or life group in general?
So I can start, and I feel like I'm speaking for a lot of the youth group on this one, but I would have to say all the overnight trips, so like whether that be our week-long summer trip move in the summer or the winter retreat. I just think, I don't know, being overnight away from our normal routine is just like, I don't know, we're all in like the same area, and it just helps build deeper connections and furthers good relationships, I think.
For me, I haven't gone to any of the overnight trips. I'm going to move this summer, but so far I would say probably my favorite thing is just the conversations we have in life groups, and just being able to bond with my friends. But I would also say we had a social night like a few months ago, and we had like a PowerPoint night, and I think that was just really fun to see everyone's like personality and what they wanted to present, and you can do fun things like that if you do join Venture Ministry.
That's great. So like Janine and Glenn said, they've been doing this for 6 years. So I just got to ask. We don't ask 6 years, by the way. Okay. But what made you get started in student ministry volunteering, and even what made you stay?
I think what made me want to get involved was just getting to be a part of something bigger than myself and to just say yes and see where God was going to take that.
I went through Venture Students from 7th grade all the way through high school, and I had really, really great life group leaders during that time. And so to me, just continuing that on from a student to being a life group leader felt really natural. I was actually thinking about it. I've been doing Sunday nights for 15 years straight. So I'm done now, which is, it'll be good. But it was, I think, just that opportunity to, I had Billy Britton and Dennis Scott and John Lackman and Jacob Butts pour into my life over those years. So I wanted to do the same thing for another class.
Yeah, that's sweet. That's awesome. So I got to co-lead with Glenn and the boys for 4 years. And man, what a time to be alive. So cool to see just them grow and be a part of that close community was really special. So Jonah and Becca, I want to ask you, speaking of life groups, speaking of that being Sunday nights, what is something that you value most about being in a life group? We meet every week pretty much. So what do you value about that?
I would have to say kind of what I've been saying, but the deeper connections that you build, and I just, you're all kind of in the same shoes, same grade and everything, so you're kind of going through the same stage in life, so it's helpful to have people that, are in your same shoes.
Kind of a similar answer, but for me, like a year ago, I didn't really have this type of community, and I think that it's been just like a life-changing experience to not only have more friends who I can talk to about anything I'm going through, but friends that I can have faith-based conversations with. And I think that's just a great thing. And just knowing that I have people, if anything comes up throughout the week, like we text in like our group chat of like things that are happening. And so it's just really reassuring to know that you have that sense of community.
That's great. Glenn, I'll ask you this one. Because you mentioned going through youth group, we were actually just reminiscing about our youth group days versus our youth group now. What inspires you about this next generation coming up that is different, or just like something that you're seeing even in the last 6 years with our boys, just like where they're at now?
Yeah, I think there's a real humility and openness to serve, especially in roles that are very behind the scenes that no one would even know that you're doing it. I feel like this probably is not a true statistic, but I feel like there's more students in the youth group right now serving than there were like students in our youth group when we were in youth group.
That's not too far off. Yeah.
So I think that humbleness and willingness to serve, and also like excitement and passion to serve, is something that's really different and unique about this group that I've seen, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'll toss it back to Becca and Jonah. Why should someone volunteer their time into Next Gen? Kids or students, what has been impactful to you that someone should know, just thinking about that going forward, potentially serving?
I would say if you end up serving. I think it just provides you with kind of a leadership role, I guess, and also just, I don't know, I think it helps also build your relationship with God more because, God wanted us to serve, so I think by doing that, you're giving back to the church in that way.
I would say for someone who's like considering maybe being a leader, just know that you have a potential to be such a light in like the youth's life. Like I know Janine has been there for me so much, and I'm so grateful that when I came here, I was nervous of I'm not gonna know anyone, or like what if I'm not welcome, and Janine did such a great job and everyone else welcoming me here, and I feel like it's just been such a good experience.
That's sweet. Good job, Janine. All right, so I'm going to ask the same question to Glenn and Janine. Why, if someone's sitting here today like, yeah, I could give Next Gen a shot, I guess. Like, I'm interested. What would you do to convince them just to push that next little step?
I mean, if you're interested, why not? Like, just give it a try. It's such a fun time. It's such a fun place to be. The kids just keep you young, so it's really great. I would just say do it. Give it a try.
I mean, I would say get to know these students as your peers in the church, instead of side-eyeing them in that row over there. Get to know their names as you walk down the hall, and not just Stan was saying it this morning, but they're not just the future of the church; they are the church right now. So get to know them, get to know their names, get to know who they are as peers.
Yeah. That's great. Can we give it a round of applause just for them and their awesome testimony? Thank you guys so much for coming up here. I want to reiterate that last point that Glenn just said, because it's important. Like I said in the beginning, they're not that bad. I know they're weird. I get it. But wow, like when you get to see ministry on display, and what Glenn said is also true. We have more students serving right now in kids ministry, in tech, even in our student programming serving, than it's probably close to the same number that Glenn and I grew up here with, of a youth group. And so it's amazing to see God on the move and changing their hearts for not just wanting programming or wanting something that's catered to them, but really wanting to give back to the church. I know some of you probably work alongside them. This is probably not a new statement for you, but wow, it's so good to see that. And to be a part of a life group, like I said, Jonah has been in our life group for 6 years, and to see the progress, to see the growth, and even in Becca, like coming in, not knowing anyone, her sisters were coming, they invited her, and to see her jump into that senior girls group, to get connected, to see them welcome her in and not be like, well, you're this outcast that hasn't been with us for a long time. Like, that's not the mentality anymore for students. Their mentality is that they want to welcome in, they want other students to be a part of what's going on. And it's so heartwarming to be a part of that and to see that happen on Sunday nights and Sunday mornings. So to close, I'm going to read a message. So every summer, they alluded to it, we go on a summer trip with both junior high and high school students. And their week-long trips, it's pretty much just like Jesus intense, 24 hours for 5 days a week. And it's really life-changing to see students who maybe come not knowing a ton of the group to then leaving with friends that they have forever. But after last year's move, which is our high school trip, a kid named Brennan wrote a Facebook post. And it still rings true today of what this next generation wants. Or this post really embodies what they're seeking. He just finished his senior year, or his freshman year in college. But writing this as someone who had gone to church and gone through all the phases and looking back on his high school time, I just want to read this to you. I'm going to try not to cry, but I can't promise anything, okay? This is from Brendan. He says, "This past week, I was at a CIY Move week-long event at Wheaton College in Illinois. If you aren't familiar with this camp, I'll sum it up. Heaven drastically increases its numbers after the week is over. So after 4 great days of hour-long worship, sermons, and amazing fellowship through games, mealtime, competitions, we had our last main session on Friday night. After an emotional worship, an amazing sermon over Matthew 8:23 through 27, we began to close out with more worship and prayer when the tornado sirens went off. All 1,200 students and adults were then evacuated out of the main gym and sent into cinder block hallways and bathrooms and locker rooms. With a tornado coming right at the college, that is true, the Holy Spirit didn't stop. Kids were not only crying, but were singing. With the handheld speakers we had and the little voices we could bring, worship never stopped. By kids and leaders alike, songs of resurrection, gratitude, and amazing grace were being lifted up. And after about an hour, God answered an abundance of prayers and calmed the storms again. We were then brought back into the gym where we continued to worship, and heaven's numbers continued to increase. Now, this isn't supposed to be a look how cool we are or a boasting of faith. No, this is supposed to show you 2 things. Number 1, my generation is hungry to hear the word. Number 2, the early church from Acts chapter 2 devoted themselves to being the church. And they didn't need a building. They became one big family and continued to add to their numbers every day without laying a building foundation. Christianity shouldn't be limited to just Sunday or a building. You and I, we are the church. Not a building with an address or a roof, we are. We didn't need a screen to tell us the words or a band or fog machines. No production was needed. No AC, no lights, no problem. We will sing louder. I'm sure many of the kids felt like the disciples on the boat that day, helpless, confused, and worried. But this made their voices get louder. God was in complete control of the situation, and when we all came to that realization, he smiled. Church, this next generation is hungry. They're hungry for the word, they're hungry for faith, and it's time to pour fuel on that fire. If you're not involved in our ministries, get a front row seat, because this next generation is going to change the church, it's going to change the kingdom, and I can't wait to see how Venture is a part of that. And with that, we're going to sing one more song. The band's out here on stage. We're going to sing a song that we sang a couple times here in the main room. We sing it a lot on Sunday nights, but I think it really captures the heart of what this next generation is capturing. And if I could be so bold, what we all should be pursuing, what we all should be trying to capture in our own lives as we follow Jesus. So if you would, stand with me. We're going to sing one more time.